got the back razor in the mail, by the way. Anybody was concerned.
Did you go with Dr. Carver's shave butter?
No.
Oh, okay.
I opened the package. I had to leave for work in about 10 minutes, but I was so excited I opened the package and sort of went to town.
Ugh. Okay.
But it was taking longer than I thought. So like right now, my back would look like Indy's because it's it's incomplete.
Oh yeah,
it's an incomplete job.
Have we ever addressed Indy's back on the podcast?
I feel like 1,000,000 times.
I mean, like, have I ever explained it?
No.
Well,
maybe not.
It's just a thing.
I don't even know if you've explained it to me. I mean, you have, I guess, but I still don't understand. Like, no matter how many times you explain it, there's no clarification as to what's really going on there.
I'll give it to you right now.
Okay, let's hear it. Do we need to turn you up?
No, it's just a thing. It's just a thing he's got going on with him.
That's it?
That's it.
It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Causes him no discomfort at all. In fact, I went to the doctor. The only story I'll tell. So for those that don't know, I have a dog named Indy, and he is bald on his back. He is missing a huge patch of hair. He didn't come that way. Developed over time. We were concerned. For a while. The doctor said, it's fine, and gave us some probiotics to use on him. And I think some medicine. The probiotics. It actually helped. It actually worked.
Really?
But, yeah, but like only ever so thin layer.
Was it eating Greek yogurt? What is it?
So an ever so thin layer of hair came back, but it made the rest of his hair like super fluffy and thick.
Oh, yeah?
And he has this one island of fluff that's still attached. It's my favorite.
Like you said, he has a bald spot. He does have a bald spot. It's a very particular shape too, by the way. Like it's symmetrical. It's so
really
strange.
Is.
But he does have patches that remain inside of it.
Yeah, and
it's
doesn't
spotted. It's disgusting.
He doesn't have mange. That's
right.
My least favorite.
It's a very beautiful mess.
It is. It's like the life of Pablo. And so I asked the doctor one day after paying for this medicine, I was like, I mean, if I don't give him the medicine, is it going to bother him? Is it going to cause him any discomfort? Is he going to get sick and die? And he was like, no, it's purely cosmetic. I was like,
I'm not paying for this.
I don't need to re-up the prescription. He's fine.
I just love the idea. It's so weird. And I love that you probably hate explaining it to people.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of a Jehovah's Witness ringing your doorbell.
Yeah.
Talking to you and then seeing Indy and the things that they might come up with in their head, like you might be someone who abuses this animal or something. Like I just love the idea of people seeing this thing, being absolutely disgusted by this dog, and then thinking ill of you towards. Like I just think it's hilarious.
We'll see that causes awkward and unwanted interaction, and I don't do well with those.
You also have to walk him publicly, which also leads to other issues.
Yeah, I don't mind it so much. I'm not like embarrassed of it, but just I don't like interacting with people under like if I'm going to interact with somebody like a stranger, I just want to start off a normal conversation. I don't want to jump into what's wrong with your dog's back or why did you make the decision to use an electronic cigarette? It's like that's where it's just a thing came from. Like I don't want to explain any of that.
I think now we're recycling a conversation that we have had before. But for any new listeners, it's just a thing is something that Jay said, and I caught on very early on. He just leaves things at that. It's just a thing, and he doesn't want to go into a deeper discussion. And
that's right.
It's really funny. So yeah, it's just a thing.
So it's late tonight.
Yeah, it's my fault. I'm back to work. Didn't miss it. I had to stay late, and so it would have been worse yesterday, to be fair. If we recorded this last night, it would have been worse, but,
Can I give you a silver lining here?
Yes.
Despite the fact that I have to get up at 6 a.m. for work, for whatever reason, I've been staying up on work nights until like 12 or 12:30.
Oh, that's good to know. Now I know when I can bother you and text you about things. I know that you're awake. I know that... are you shaking your head?
It's whatever.
I thought you were shaking your head. Hey, no, like fuck off.
Wait, before we go any further, I'm glad I remembered to do this because I told myself I wanted to do it. Before we go into our, whatever we do here at the top, I want to first plug something new that not everybody, I don't think, knows about. But so somebody reached out to us on Facebook, a guy by the name of Brad Donovan, and asked if he could start a Facebook group on Facebook for Sight and Sound listeners. And I was interested in that. I thought it was cool when he proposed the idea, but I was also apprehensive because I thought to myself, I don't know if anybody's going to be active in it or anything like that. Launch the group. There's about 30, I think, or so people in there right now. And man, I've been having a great time, like, interacting with other people, and they're people that we know, obviously. But if you guys are interested in just carrying on music, movie, and television discussions between yourselves, and we get involved too, go look for that Facebook group. I don't know how to share it. I was being an old man. I was how do you share it?
Well, the page or the group is its own link. I mean, it's
I know you can just copy that
still
link.
a URL.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Sometimes it gets wonky.
Very interested by the idea of Brad Donovan reaching out to you before me.
Of course.
Him and I have a longer history, so I'm a little confused by that, but that's fine. I was very flattered by this whole thing because I'm a part of the Schmoville Facebook group, as are you. Joined it, 2 years ago or whatever, and that's how that led to me getting on the Schmoville podcast at the time, and I always admired the activity for all these thousands of fans that support Schmoes Know, and now we have our own. And as you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking about sort of our mentality lately as far as creating content. Like, it's up for the viewers to decide, and so your apprehension of, hey, is this going to work? Right. Are people going to? It's up to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I, God bless them. I love it. I've been really. It keeps me motivated. Like, now it's like these people hold me accountable now.
Yeah.
I mean, I am very appreciative. They're holding me accountable to deliver not a great conversation, but also great content. So yeah. I think that's awesome. I also love the idea that all of these Schmobillions are meeting our personal friends and vice versa.
Yeah, and just that's what's funny about it, and I think we sometimes forget from time to time, but before we got the After Schmo gig and before Sight and Sound was ever distributed on SK Plus, we had months of growing and listeners and stuff like that too. So I'm excited for those two groups to sort of semicircle and meet in the middle. And I think it's hilarious too, because the Schmoville group is a great group of people. I mean, incredible listeners and fans of Schmoes Know, and the fact that they're a part of our crew as well.
Except that
awesome.
one asshole I had to block.
Did you have to block somebody?
Oh, fuck yeah. This guy was a nut job. I can't even think of his name.
This was in Schmoville?
Oh, yeah. This guy.
How do you have the power to block people in Schmoville? Are you an admin?
Oh, I didn't block him in the group. No, I'm not an admin.
Oh, okay.
No, I had to block him personally because he was wreaking havoc. He was out of his mind.
No?
Yeah. I can't think of his name right now. I saw, it was just funny though, because this happened months ago. I saw someone refer to him in the group this past week, and I was like, oh yeah, that guy blows ass.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Hey, speaking of people, well, just to sort of put a bow on that, it was sort of always something I was excited about doing in the future, was just having some sort of group so that everybody could share their opinions on music, movies, and television. One of the reasons that at least I do it, and I'm assuming you probably do it too, is that, yeah, we have people in our lives that we can talk about this stuff with, but we're obviously passionate about talking about it, and we don't have enough people to talk about it with.
Yeah.
And it's great to sort of get everybody's opinion. And I love that the first day was dominated by music. I thought that you were going to leave the group.
No.
But it's fun.
I do feel bad because I'm not able to contribute as much as
does it motivate
all of the
you?
others.
Does it motivate you to get learn more about music? Who is this?
No, it does not.
Who's this Drake character they speak of?
No, it definitely does not do that. But I do feel bad because I see you all having a good time and chatting in there. I'm not able to do it as much. But
somebody wants to start top 10 Seosin songs.
And I would love that. Just to be clear, I want, for our listeners that aren't in Schmoville, they don't even know what the hell that is. please feel free to join our group. Like I said, you just search Sight and Sound. It's a Facebook group. It's not just Jay and I promoting our content. It is very much based in discussion of music, movies, and TV. People are throwing out their top list, the things that they're listening to or watching right now. It's also just a very good way, and almost an immediate way to communicate with us directly, since we are in the group. So feel free to get involved. Please join the group. Send us. I don't even know how it works. I don't know if you send a request to join or if we can automatically join.
Yeah, you send a request to join. Look, I'm not even super active on Facebook in general. Like, I don't even know the last time my personal Facebook page was updated, but I go to Facebook specifically to interact in these groups, and that's how good it is. And
you updated your Twitter recently. I noticed that.
I did update my Twitter. But look, what Ryan said about us promoting, it's not an avenue for that. We want the people inside of it.
We'll do it.
but yeah, just to give an example.
We'll do it.
Just to give an example and to transition into something else, we released our new T-shirt line, our summer T-shirt line. I didn't say a word about it. Luke brought it up that he bought a shirt, but I made a very conscious effort. Like, I don't just want to bombard these people here with it, but that's...
I do.
Yeah, we know you do. Transitioning into that other big announcement, we did drop our summer merch line. Thank you so much to some people who have already picked up some stuff. That is awesome. And I actually forgot that I made all these different color options available. Like our boy Brad Bell bought that the Sight and Sound logo with the palm trees on it in that beautiful, almost tropical heather blue color.
He just made it more tropical.
I know, right?
If you can believe it. It was already very tropical.
Those types of colors, not necessarily for me personally, but when I saw it, I was like, damn, that looks fucking dope.
It's a good looking shirt.
Shout out to Luke who bought the pink one, trying to rock those shoegaze vibes.
I'll be picking up my shirts this weekend. Right. And by this weekend, I mean my 2 days off that aren't on the weekend.
I also didn't know this via TeePublic, but there are like options within options to do things like the crew neck shirt. You can get, there's another style of crew neck shirt. Did you know that we could, if we wanted to, get zip up hoodies as well?
Yes, Jay.
I didn't know that until I was browsing on it myself. So anyways, enough with the t-shirt plugs. We have a very interesting show today. We sort of put the pop culture hot topics, the news on the back burner. Tell the people what we're doing this week.
So guys, you might be familiar with the episode format. We've done a couple of these already. We did like a 2017 preview. We did a year wrap up. Sorry to hit you with the mic. That's what you get for looking at your phone. I don't know what we're going to do.
The hell?
We're going to do our top 5 things so far in 2017. And we're going to break it down like a normal episode. We're going to do a music portion that's Jay's top 5 albums so far. I'm going to do my top 5 movies so far. And together we will discuss our top 5 favorite TV shows of 2017. So it's going to be a good show, fun show, very reflective show. And let's just talk about some things, Jay.
I don't remember the last time we did something like this. I guess it was the summer preview. Did you bring that up? Did you mention that?
Did we do a summer preview?
Yeah, we did.
Then that's when it was. I definitely remember the 2017 preview. Yeah, okay. We talked. You were surprised that I put the Detroit movie. Remember I put the Detroit movie?
Oh, yeah. Where's that been?
It comes out in August.
Does it really?
Yeah.
With John Boyega?
John Krasinski.
2 Johns?
And then...
What about John Hamm?
Will Poulter, who he... did you see We're the Millers?
No.
He played the kid that was obsessed with Jennifer Aniston that I wish I could have been on set.
I don't see movies.
He played the bully in Maze Runner.
Definitely didn't see that
again,
movie.
Another movie. I should have known.
Just for the record, this thing, I'm actually live streaming.
Jay's doing a show within a show.
I'm live streaming this to the group. Just shout out to my mom. Shout out to Ralph Lenardic. Anyways, this is not
Ralph Lenardic.
Kevin Marks.
Shout out to Ralph Lenardic.
What? Why is that funny? He said Spider-Man was trash. Do you believe him?
No, we did not.
He did say that.
He doesn't think that. That sounds like something that Josh Krubner, do you know that guy? He used to be an admin in Schmoville. He is like, he's one of those guys that you hear him talk and you hear him spew his opinions and you think, okay, you were just the anti-me.
Yeah.
Like Josh Krubner, I believe, is the anti-Snell. And as long as he continues to disagree with me, then the planets are aligned and everything is right in the world. Right. He's one of those people that the day he agrees with me, the day I question my reality.
I don't have somebody like that.
You don't have the anti-Jay?
No, nobody lives in the mirror world.
There are several. I've accused several people of being anti-Snells. And they all make their case, but then another person comes along and then I decide that they're more of an anti-Snell. And my friends group very much enjoys when I am faced with an anti-Snell because it's arguably one of the most uncomfortable things that I've ever experienced because I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. Everybody, just side note real quick, while I was doing that, sorry, I was very distracted. While I was doing that, I was trying to do Facebook Live on my phone just to give people a taste of Sight and Sound Weekly.
Did you post it to your personal?
I totally did. And as soon as somebody joined in that I didn't know, got out immediately. Deleted it.
Awful.
Anyways.
Let me know. I'm curious. If you find yourself disagreeing with pretty much everything I say, let me know because you might be the next anti-Snell.
Yeah, you know what? I think I do have somebody in my life that is an anti-person. You might be the anti-me.
There's no way.
Goodman is the anti-Jay.
I wish people knew who Goodman was.
Can we please have him on an after party at some point?
I would love it. He is the type of person, and I can't really illustrate this enough other than he's the anti-Jay. He would instantly become our show's like mascot character.
Yeah.
No one would take him serious. He would just be horrible, but he would also at the same time be a sideshow. Okay. And we would just get a lot of pleasure being entertained by how poor he is on the mic.
Yeah.
But it would be so much fun.
All right, let's get into it. What do you want to kick off with first?
I don't have. Let's get movies out of the way.
All right, let's do it. I did make a list.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I've barely seen any movies this year.
That's against the format, Jay.
Just for shits and gigs, let me tell you what
and now you're going to alienate me because I clearly didn't make a music list.
No, it just... look, it's so bad, I didn't even get to 5 on my list. Are you ready?
Yeah.
My number 4, Beauty and the Beast. My number 3, Lego Batman. My number 2, Wonder Woman. My number 1 was Logan. I hated Beauty and the Beast, and I thought Lego Batman was a little bit overhyped. It was good, but it was nowhere near as good as regular Lego movie.
Well, number 5 is Lego Batman. I saw it with my nephew. He was 6.
What did you think about it?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
I don't think I enjoyed it as much as my experience with the original Lego movie, but it might actually be better in a way.
You think so? I think that's... I can't agree with that.
I think the way I remember it, I think I enjoyed the Lego movie so much because it was so much of a surprise. There was a lot of shock value to it. Like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is real. I can't believe how much I'm enjoying this. Chris Pratt, Liam Neeson, all of those interesting characters that you were able... Like, Dumbledore was in that, Green Lantern, Superman. All those people are just thrown at you in the Lego movie. I think there's a lot of shock value to it. But I think I just enjoy it more because it is a Batman movie. I think that that's one reason that I favor it. I think I'm going to rewatch both and assess again, but we're also just I'm also able to say that it's still neck and neck. Like, there's no clear winner, but that's just how I feel about it right this second. I think that I probably enjoyed Lego Batman more. Like, I am really looking forward to watching it over again. No.
I'm looking forward to Ninjago. Kumail Nanjiani's in it.
I'm Kumail Nanjiani.
He has a new movie out.
The Big Sick.
That's right.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about it.
Getting good stuff.
Okay, so That's actually a good point. But anyway, I don't have a whole lot to say about Lego Batman other than it's enjoyable. No real surprise there. If you heard me on my movie episode that I did earlier this past week, I kind of talked about how it's actually really hard for me to make this list, partially because I'm so underwhelmed by a lot of the movies that I've seen this year. I am very surprised.
We're right on the cusp of things going nuts, though.
Yes, we are,
which is kind of crazy.
And yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that right now I'm surprised that the majority of my list are like blockbuster popcorn films. The ones that have like the smaller movies that have come out. Like I do have Get Out on my list, but I'll talk about it. It Comes at Night I haven't seen, but that's very divisive. Book of Henry, same thing. Like smaller movies have come out, but I haven't gotten to see them. Split, if you want to consider that. That is a small movie, but it was a box office success. The Big Sick is another one. There have been smaller movies that have come out. But I either haven't seen them or I don't think they would make my list at all. But yeah, I'm hearing great things about The Big Sick. I think it has like a 90. It had a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes when I.
Judd Apatow on a little bit of a podcast media tour. He was on. This is kind of weird. He was on Fighter and the Kid. And then the very next day, he was on Rogan, which are a super shared universe there.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was a bad move because he was legitimately regurgitating the exact same information on both podcasts.
Oh, really?
I feel like, this is a completely sort of off topic, but I feel like we're getting into that space where podcasts are so big that people are going on these tours and there's that cross-pollination. It's sort of like media tours when you have 3 favorite movie websites and you get the directors or the actors saying the exact same thing on every interview.
You know whose fault that is?
Judd Apatow's.
No.
The podcast.
The host of the podcast.
I agree. Especially Rogan. He should have known better. He should have.
But did Rogan go first? No, he went second.
Yeah,
right.
That's what's random about it.
Yeah, you're right.
Rogan should have cracked the whip and said, "I made you, Fighter and the Kid."
It's true.
How dare you?
It's the podcaster's fault for that.
I agree. Anyways.
But anyway, so I am surprised that the majority of my list are these big blockbuster films or popcorn movies. I actually think, looking ahead at the rest of the year, I think it's going to maintain that. Like,
yeah,
I expect a healthy mix between the two, smaller movies, the sort of breakthrough, but also blockbuster films. And that's just, those are I love both for different reasons, and you know that, but right now I'm not really getting it. So that's very interesting. Very strong year for blockbusters so far.
I'm waiting to see if there's a Moonlight sort of lurking beneath the surface, like a movie that people, aren't really talking about leading up to it, and then when it comes out, it just
definitely
absolutely.
But
breaks through.
you can't expect that. It's not going to happen.
Not right now. Yeah,
yeah, it's got to be fall. But yeah.
It's an exciting time for, I think, blockbuster movies just because I feel like they're pushing themselves, we talked about it earlier on when I'm sure we'll talk about it again, but with Logan, movies like that are pushing the boundaries, I think, for what we expect out of movies like that. Yeah.
Number 4 is a movie that I saw last week. It is Baby Driver.
Yep.
Baby Driver was very interesting because it really wasn't hitting with me about the first third of the movie. I know a lot of people are passionate about Edgar Wright. I love Edgar Wright as well, but I wouldn't call myself a Edgar Wright fanatic. The beginning of the movie felt like overly written, and it was one of those movies that, like, you know how you might think that it's overly written, or does that make sense? Do you understand what I mean by that?
Well, sort of. Like the way that I'm equating it. So I think Zack Snyder overly directs his movies. They're too over stylized in the visual department. Right. And I think there are people out there, especially with like indie films, who overly write their dialogue, and it's like too quippy, it's
kind of like that. So basically when Baby meets, what's her name? Deborah, I think, is the opposite Ansel Elgort in the movie. When they meet, her character, it just feels overly written. She's talking and I'm thinking, yes, that was screen written.
Right.
You know what I mean? And in addition to that, I already wasn't vibing with that, but a lot of their lines in their first few scenes together, they were 100% clearly dubbed, and I could tell. And there was just a lot of disconnect with that. And I think I might be nitpicking because I haven't heard a single person call that out. But that was just my take. And in the theater that I don't know if it was the theater that I was in or the movie sound in general, but it was just kind of like quiet. And so I wasn't really able to, the movie wasn't encompassing me in the way that I wanted to. So there was a weird disconnect, and maybe I should stop going to my local theater because sometimes that happens. But yeah, I wasn't vibing the way I wanted to. As the movie progresses, it builds itself beautifully. There's a lot of great action in it, but once you get more into the story and the characters and the relationships, it actually does build itself beautifully. And overall, it's a really enjoyable time. It has, and you wouldn't think this, at least I assume that you didn't think this, but there's a lot of interesting like turns. I won't quite call them twists, but there's a lot of interesting turns.
Look, we did
the plot of the movie.
We did a thing about this. Do you remember? We randomly decided that we were going to react to the Baby Driver trailer on Weekly a while ago. Had no idea of what this movie was.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was sold from this trailer. This has been high on my list, highly anticipated ever since we did that episode. I'm so excited to go see this movie. And it doesn't surprise me that it's gotten this reaction so far. I think the cast looks incredible. Edgar Wright, just in general,
the cast is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and I know I put this up my number 4, but the only other thing that I'll say is like I don't think Ansel Elgort sold it for me. Like I don't think he brought anything specific or unique to the character. But you could also debate like you don't know that he has to because he has a particular past, so you can evaluate, well, maybe that's just how the character is supposed to be, but I kind of think that anyone could have played that part.
Right. Ansel Elgort, the white childish Gambino.
He's one of the worst on-screen runners I have ever seen in my life, going back to his appearances in the Divergent movies. He looks ridiculous when he runs. Check it out.
I prefer him singing on the Logic album.
There you go. So, but anyway, it is enjoyable. The cast is a lot of fun. John Hamm, John Bernthal, Jamie Foxx, Kevin Spacey, all good. So yeah, but it was enjoyable, and that's all I got. Okay.
Moving on.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to say, if for any of you who haven't seen the movie, did you watch my review or my reaction on Stardust?
No, I haven't downloaded Stardust yet.
Oh, shame on you.
Also, Kevin Mark says that you are the anti-him. Apparently.
Oh, that's interesting. I said that Baby Driver is a combination of Guardians of the Galaxy.
I saw that.
And
you
Drive.
You posted that on Twitter too.
Yeah. And you guess which movie it's more like.
I'm assuming Guardians of the Galaxy because it's the more difficult one. Okay.
It's Drive.
Interesting.
Does that pique your curiosity anymore? Because I thought it was awesome.
Well,
because it's unexpected.
I mean, I've seen the reviews. I know that the movie has a lot to do with music. Music was a huge part in Drive.
Actually, well, I attributed that, and you'll know more once you know more about the character.
Tone.
It's he's more Star-Lord than he is, based on his background and the reason why he listens to music and things like that.
Well, but it's more like Drive. I'm assuming. I mean, the biggest thing that sticks out to me about Drive is the tone of the movie, just being completely unexpected.
The intensity.
Yeah,
absolutely. So anyway, number 3 is Wonder Woman. I mean, what else can we say? It was great. It's a lot of fun. I think its only downfalls really are like, again, I wasn't really vibing with the beginning as much. I think you opposed that, right? You very much enjoyed the opening of that movie.
I love the opening, and it wasn't that I didn't like the end of it. It had a very Zack Snyder sort of aesthetic to it that I just don't really care for that much. But that's super nitpicky for me.
Yeah.
I still gave it an A+.
And again, I'm not even saying, guys, remember, I'm putting this in my top movies. Like, I'm not hating on it in any. I'm just saying I simply didn't vibe with it the way that I wanted to, or I didn't like it as much as some of the other parts in the film. But I mean, and you could say what you want about villains, but like, I'm kind of getting to the point where a lot of people are complaining about the formulaic, how superhero movies have been handling villains. I love villains, don't get me wrong, but particularly with an origin story,
you don't have as much of a
I don't
place.
mind it. I really don't.
You don't. That's why. I mean, I don't know. We haven't seen Homecoming, but I'm assuming they probably will give quite a bit of time to Michael Keaton as Vulture because we know the origin of Peter Parker.
Exactly. And I haven't heard anyone say that about Spider-Man Homecoming yet.
Right.
Anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard anybody say, well, it's just another Marvel villain. I'm hearing that there's a lot of great things about Michael Keaton in the movie. Yeah. So, but we'll find out next week. Yeah, there's not a whole lot I can say other than I've been in love with Gal Gadot ever since. She's just killed it. My God, it's so good. So great.
Well, I mean, the directing in the film was probably one of the biggest standouts. We all know, we all have seen failures and success in the superhero camp with film directors in the past, and I just think she knocked it out of the park, man. I think she absolutely crushed it.
My number 2 is Get Out.
Haven't seen it. I don't know why.
I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was so captivating and interesting and unique, and I love the social commentary, but it wasn't quite in your face. It really used it to sort of the plot somewhat piggybacks on the social idea, but it totally works and it drives the story, and just a lot of fun to watch. And it was such a unique, interesting Twilight Zone type story, and I was really, really, really into it. And I think talk about killing it as far as directing. I mean, Jordan Peele is on top of the world. He can pretty much do anything because this was so unsuspecting. This movie came out of nowhere and just destroyed expectations, and everyone went to go see it. I know a lot of different types of people who found themselves seeing this movie and very much enjoyed it. I think that's awesome. It's just transcendent, and I would really, really urge you to rent it because it's available.
It's absolutely. I've seen it staring at me every time I go onto my iTunes, and I'm excited to see it. Everybody has built this movie up. I think I'm going to wait, though. I think I am going to wait till a little bit later in the year to see it, maybe around the Halloween time. I think it'd be a good movie to save for October.
Okay.
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. Cool. Can I guess your number 1?
Yeah. Even though that's kind of, I mean, no one's going to think you're a genius if you guess this because it's kind of obvious.
Let's talk about fucking Logan, dude.
I watched it again a couple weeks ago with my mom and my sister, and I don't know. Take this as you will, whatever way you want to, but they're 2 women. That might be fair or unfair or whatever, but
this is offensive. I'm just kidding.
No, I based on I know my sister and my mom better than you all.
That's good.
So everyone shut the hell up. No, I knew going into it that they might walk away from this movie not caring or not being as powerful as it is to say me and you. But I mean, I remember my mom took me to go see X2 in theaters when I was younger. My dad took me to see the first X-Men when it came out. Hugh Jackman, I'm of the generation where he has been my Wolverine the whole time. I'm not young to where I had to go back. I mean, I was along for the ride the whole time. And so going
who else would have been your Wolverine? He's always been Wolverine.
I think the point is I think it's different for someone who like their first X-Men movie might have been Days of Future Past. Okay. And then they're kind of going back and learning Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, whereas I was along the ride, anticipated every single movie with that's all I'm saying. So I think it's different in that way. My sister's 7 years younger than me, and I think she's seen X-Men First Class maybe, but that's the extent of it. And my mom doesn't care either way. She was just my parent who took her kid to the movies. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I got them to watch it because I thought my sister would really enjoy it, and I just made my mom watch it with me. But my sister, we ended that movie. She hysterically cried, and I'm not.
Jay got a little choked up.
I cried, absolutely. I cried again the second time watching it with her, but she was hysterical. We turned the movie off. We turned the lights back on in the house, and she had to talk to me as she was crying. She was trying to calm down, and I was egging her on, and I'm like, you want to... Spoilers for Logan, by the way. I'll give you an opportunity to skip ahead like 30 seconds with your podcast app because I'm about to spoil a major plot point in the movie. 3, 2, 1. When Xavier dies, my sister is hysterically crying about the ending of Logan, and I said to her, you know what's even sadder? She goes, what? And I said, that Logan had to whisper to Charles, it wasn't me, because Charles Xavier could have died thinking that Logan killed him.
Right.
Started all over again. It was great. And I promise you, I'm not kidding. My sister, who is 19, was crying for 10 minutes hysterically over that movie. And yeah, I think that the second time watching it, how many times have you seen it?
I've seen it twice.
Okay. I was making fun of the movie because in the last 30 to 20 minutes of the movie, he just like wakes up from a nap like 5 times.
Yeah, he does. It's hilarious.
Like literally 5 wake up scenes.
Watching it a second time is actually fascinating for me because I showed it to Kayla for the first time and she loved it. And it's just sometimes some movies, the second viewing, especially once it's just come out, you're kind of like, you might not be as interested. You know the beats to sort of watch the film, you know, when you can sort of get on your phone and whatnot. But I was just absolutely riveted by it. And we were talking off air about how in Civil War, when Spider-Man comes in, it just completely changes the entire dynamic of the movie and how you just start fist pumping when Tom Holland is on the screen. I had that exact same reaction watching Logan the second time for X-23. That opening scene where she just goes ham on all those people. I mean, I was so hyped. I fucking love that movie. And, I mean, she kind of, I thought I'm not going to say she stole the show, but what I think it was unexpected how much I actually enjoyed her in that film.
I would love to hear your mom's take on a movie like this. Maybe you could watch it with her. But my mom...
Movies with mom?
My mom essentially, when we asked her, well, for one, she was the person that was trying to calm my sister down with, it's just a movie. They aren't real people. And I'm like, can you honestly say no movie has ever evoked emotion out of you? And she said, it's not like it's Titanic or anything where it's something horrible that actually happened. And I was like, but those people aren't even real, or the story isn't real. Anyway, I just kind of thought it was a funny mom take, but because she doesn't really care, she just watches movies because we make her. But
you know what got Kayla and I quite a bit?
What?
Friday Night Lights. Every other night, pretty much shedding tears. Tim Riggins, Coach, yeah.
I think that this is not really a unique conversation, but just to kind of wrap up my thoughts. Superhero movies going into 2017,
they should be ashamed of themselves,
which were supposed to dominate the year. I mean, we were excited for all of them, with the exception of Guardians 2, which I didn't really. I keep saying this. I didn't really vibe with it. But overall, I think we're going to leave the year and superhero movies are going to trump everything. Yeah. I really do. And you brought up a great point. You know, people always talk about superhero fatigue. No, because all of these movies this year are bringing something new to the table, every single one of them. And it's really great. It's really exciting. Again, like you said, the fact that Spider-Man doesn't have to be an origin story. Thor Ragnarok looks just berserk.
Still got
Jack Kirby's son.
Still got Justice League to come out this year.
Justice League.
That's nuts to me.
There's still a huge question mark, but I'm more excited than ever for it, especially with the Joss Whedon. How well Wonder Woman did. That means I think we're on an interesting trajectory. I'm not willing to say I'm giving myself over to DC now. I'm not one of those people, but I'm more curious. Joss Whedon coming in, finishing up.
It's just weird not to have that shit taste in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like, you know how when you eat like a bad steak, you just don't want to eat steak for a while. And when somebody suggests it, you're like, nah, I'm good. But we just had a delicious filet mignon called Wonder Woman.
That's sexist. Do you want to take a break?
Yes, let's take a break. It's absolutely sweltering in here. Shout out to everybody in the Facebook group that I did the live stream to, and also the one guy who tuned in who has no idea I probably even have a podcast. So, yeah, you're listening to Sight and Sound Weekly. We will be right back. It is hot outside. It's summertime. You're going to the beach. You're going to the lake. You're going on hikes. Whatever you're doing. Maybe it's too hot to go outside. I have no idea. But I'll tell you what. It's so hot that you've got those nasty, gross pit stains and all those old T-shirts. So we've got you covered. Go to sightsoundpod.com. Pick up your Sight and Sound gear. We've got a summer line coming out with some incredible designs. I am biased because I designed them, but that's okay. They do look good, I promise you. There's a lot of great stuff over there. We're always releasing new T-shirts. We have a new limited design that will only be available for the month of July, and we've got a new limited design coming every single month. But go to sightsoundpod.com and pick up your T-shirts. You're going to feel good about yourself because not only are you supporting the podcast, not only are you doing your part to help make the podcast better, you're going to look fantastic while supporting the show. Sightsoundpod.com. Pick up your T-shirts today. All right, I have many bones to pick with this music list thing that I'm doing. Mini bones.
Small bones or an abundance of bones?
Just, I have a bone to pick with you about it, and I have a bone to pick with Luke Jaggers about it.
So, again, mini bones, as in bite-sized bones, or many in abundance of bones to pick?
Bite-sized. Bite-sized bones.
Well, I'm going to hijack your segment real quick and just say that the only album that matters this year is Harry Styles. Okay, I'm done.
It's a great album.
Also, Dominique Foxworth says that he very much enjoys JC's 444 or whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, yeah? You like that? Okay. Anyways, that album sounds like
Is that you talking to Dominique Foxworth?
Yeah, sure. So, listen, here's what this list is not. This is not, and this is just a statement for me reviewing albums, making my album of the year list and all that stuff. There is a big difference between my favorite critical albums, like things that critics and people who review albums like would say, this is a work of art, da 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 da. And then there's just things that I like and that I enjoy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Aren't we doing the list that we like?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there. But that's actually not what this list is either. These are the top 5 albums that I enjoy, but in different categories. I didn't just want to go all rock albums, all hip-hop albums or anything like that. These are from a different array of things. And also, music is everything is subjective, obviously, but music is so disposable. I don't want to hear people be like, why didn't you leave this up? Spoiler alert, Kendrick Lamar's Damn, incredible album. Not on this list. It's just not. Like, that doesn't mean it's not good. It doesn't mean that these albums aren't necessarily are necessarily better than that album. I'm just throwing it out there.
Guardians 2 sucks.
There you go. There's a hip hop album on here that I do think is better than Damn, but nonetheless, let's get into it. Just go easy on me. Speaking of your boy, number 5, Harry Styles, self-titled album.
No, already wrong.
Yeah, see? This is what I'm
already
doing.
Wrong.
Let me just say this. This wasn't on this list before this weekend. It wasn't. It was going to be like something that could have been on the list. It was. Oh, that's the other thing too. Somebody, I don't remember who it was. Somebody in our group said that, this hasn't been that great of a year for music. I have 11 albums on my album of the year list so far, potential candidates, and we're already halfway through. That's pretty substantial. There's been some great things that have come out, but this Harry Styles album, recently revisited it a little bit more in depth, and I just blown away by how versatile this album is, how many bangers there are on it, and I mean, it's just a feel good album. Like I can literally put it on almost at any point in the day. Like before I'm going to bed, if I'm driving to work, if it's like summery outside, which it is, and I've ordered my Sight and Sound tank top, so I'm laying by the pool. It's just a great album. But you enjoy it still. This has kind of been a front runner for you, is that right?
It is the front runner.
What is it you enjoy about it so much? You've had some time to spend with it.
It's the first album in a long time that I've enjoyed front to back. That's a huge feat for me.
It's such an easy listen.
Think of how many times we start the music segments reacting to an album or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well, I've listened to some of it. I've listened to half of it.
Right.
That's just, I don't know. It's very hard to pull me in the entire way. And again, talk about shock value. I think there's a lot of shock value with this album. You're not really, at least I'm not, anticipating Harry Styles to blow me away. And then when he does, it's like, oh shit, what have I been missing out on? I'm going to listen to all of One Direction's. Another weird thing that I've sort of evaluated my whole experience with this.
Right.
I didn't grow up with the influences that this album has.
Right. The sort of retro vibe that it has. Yeah.
Yes. I was not raised on any of those bands. So in a really weird way, this is new to me.
Right.
It makes sense, like going back, just from context, hearing a band like the Eagles on the radio. I mean, I understand enough to where I'm like, yeah, that's what he's pulling from. But this is my first time, and this speaks a lot as to where I am with my music fandom. But my first experience with the Eagles was with Harry Styles.
Really?
But that's
no
just
Hotel California?
I've heard Hotel California, but I mean, really, like getting involved with the music.
The Eagles have some bangers.
You have to show them to me.
Oh, so good.
Somebody will hold it.
There's going to be songs that you hear from the Eagles, you're going to be like, I had no idea this was the Eagles.
Right. I get that.
I can believe that.
So, but anyway, that's my weird and pathetic statement of the day.
Well, for those that didn't pay attention to when we talked about it the first time or didn't see my album review, look, there's a lot of people out there, and I get this, who aren't music people, and they're not music people because they're not super interested in a lot of new music today. And I get that 100%. There's a lot of people out there that are big fans of a lot of classic rock, a lot of stuff from the 60s and the 70s. Look, we had a conversation with somebody in our Facebook group about this just the other day. If you are a fan of classic rock music, please check this album out. I know there's this weird sort of cloud that looms over the name of Harry Styles because of his involvement with One Direction. It's hard to sort of take it seriously.
Fuck off.
But it legitimately is a great project. We're not the only ones saying it. I think there were some detractors. I think there were some people kind of nitpicking this album a little bit, but it's great. I absolutely love it. It's Ryan's leader for album of the year, it sounds like. But that's my number 5, best of the year so far. Coming at number 4, it's another album you enjoyed quite a bit. And in my opinion, it might be the best hip-hop album to come out this year, and that's Logic's Everybody. Now, we were sort of in a minority with how much we enjoyed this album. I didn't know that there was this huge drove of people who were already super deep in the Logic pool, and they were just sort of sick and tired of the lyrics. But I have been on a lyric tirade the last week, especially with this whole Jay-Z album. There is more to music than the lyrics. Like, my God. Like, this album is full of bangers. I mean, incredible modern hip-hop songs that you can listen to in the club, when you're driving, when you're working out, and they actually have substance to them. And that is just, it's a feat. It's a challenging feat. So, look, this album for me, I know people are gonna be like, how dare you put this album over Damn? Like, I've said it. I've said what I needed to say about Damn. It's a great album, but it's sort of a safe album, I think, for Kendrick. And again, there's more to music than lyrics. Kendrick is an incredible lyricist, but composition wise, I think Logic has him beat.
And I think the complaint was, at least from RB3, who seemed to be a very passionate follower of Logic. Yeah. He's talking about the redundance of this particular album, which I don't No, I don't understand, because again, this is the first time that I had ever heard of Logic at all, so it's not redundant at all. In fact, it's kind of fresh for me, so I've been able to enjoy it quite a bit. And I agree that there might only be one best hip hop album of the year for me, but this is it.
Yeah, the whole redundance thing, I get it to a certain extent, but I mean,
I understand it. I just don't. I'm lucky to not have that problem.
But isn't that kind of just music in general? I mean, a lot of rap and hip hop kind of discusses the exact same things anyways. A lot of rock music, a lot of hardcore music.
You could say that Foo Fighters suffers from redundancy, but in that particular case, I welcome that because I love Foo Fighters.
Music is more than just lyrics. That's what I have to say about that. That's my number 4. Number 3, it's actually another hip hop album. I kind of lied when I said that there was only one on this album. It's Drake's More Life. And when this thing dropped, I've been through a very strange journey with this album. Very strange journey. When this thing came out, I enjoyed it. I was cool. I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is fine. Didn't revisit it at all. In the last probably 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks maybe, I can't get enough of this project. It is a long album, and I think for a lot of people, they're having trouble getting into it because close to 30 songs is a lot. It's a lot to sort of digest, but it's kind of nice because every time I go back to it, I'm finding something new out about it that I really, really enjoy. And, I guess it could be arguable if this is even technically a hip hop album. There are songs where Drake raps a lot, but there's a lot of songs where he sings. There's a lot of songs where he does the sort of dance hall tropical vibe. And I challenge you, all you naysaying assholes out there, I dare you to go to a swimming pool or a beach or something and put this album on and not just enjoy the absolute hell out of it. This is the album of the summer for me. 100%. There is no question about it.
Not Linkin Park?
Linkin Park's actually a pretty good call, but no, this one, just quality-wise.
So I'm laughing. Do you already know what I'm going to say?
No.
Because I'll let you say it. I've said it to you before. We've talked about it quite a bit off air. I love it. You've had such a weird, you kind of spoke on it. You've had such a weird reaction to this album. Going into it, you called it your Star Wars. And so when I hear this is Jaye Williams Star Wars, I'm getting excited for it in myself. Like, if it's like Star Wars, like I'm getting jittery. Like I'm anticipating this album that much more just because you've said that. Otherwise, I might have completely missed out on it. At least never listened to it opening night, like we did together. My perspective of how you took in, you already know where I'm going with this?
No.
My perception of your reaction to this album was the biggest screeching halt that I've ever seen in my life.
Every single Drake album I listen to has that same thing. It always grows on me. I never know how to take it. And that's good that I think he challenges his fans.
You built it up, and then I just watched you sit back in a chair and listen to it, and that was pretty much the extent of it.
Isn't that kind of my reaction to most things?
And then you didn't speak about More Life for weeks.
Right.
It was just so weird. Like, I've heard you talk more about Logic's album than I have Drake's More Life.
I'm about to blow your mind. I listen to this album once a day. And not only do I listen to it once a day, the sequencing of like the first 10 tracks.
Who is he, Spielberg?
Might be perfect. I mean, it is incredible. It's such a pleasurable listening experience, man. I absolutely love it. Now, look, this isn't quality-wise. We've been over this before. It's not like he's not going to win any awards. This isn't going to be my album of the year. It just doesn't have that aesthetic about it. But for what it is, this is dumb fun. It makes me go nuts when I get to the Sampha song 4422. I mean, I lose my mind.
444, Jay.
It's a less version of songs involving force.
So that's my first take, that your reaction just completely flatlined and that I never heard about More Life again. Now my reaction to what you're doing here. Remember when we did our top 5 TV shows of 2016 with Jonathan Paula? And when I revealed that my number 1 was People vs. OJ, your immediate reaction was, when did you even watch this?
Right. Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling now, the reverse. Like, just out of nowhere. Oh, you like Drake that much? Okay.
Well, there's certain, we talk about mood albums all the time, and I mean, that's interpretive of what that even means. But this album, there is no better music for me than Drake when I need to turn something on and just get something done, because it is rather mindless. I mean, it kind of is just mindless, dumb fun, Fast and the Furious type of action. And I sit down at work and I get shit done. I listen to More Life, and it's great. And I love it. And there's like a whole other second half of the album that it's hard to get through. It's like hard to get even to that halfway point. I said the first 10 tracks, that's only half of the album. Like, there's so much fucking content there. But anyways, that's my my number 3. Number 2, this is where I've got bones. Ryan Snelling and Luke Jagger should be ashamed of themselves.
I know what you're doing. I already know where you're going.
Because Ryan Snelling has this algorithm, and
explain it for the new listeners.
There is just this tone of music, and it has to be just right for Ryan Snelling to even enjoy it. And there are certain aspects of music when I hear it that I think Ryan will like this.
And to be fair, this, like, each genre sort of has its own take. Like
100%.
You're actually pretty good about no matter what the genre is, you can pretty much point out this is for Snelling, this isn't. You're very good across most genres.
Yeah, you are more partial to rock music. You also like some artistic freedom, I think, with music, but you also want it to be very, very accessible, big choruses. Unique takes on popular structure. Absolutely.
I'm very fond of.
So I've said your piece. That's why you should be ashamed, because what I'm about to say applies to all of that. Luke Jagger should be ashamed, because I find out about so much music, or not just music, but movie stuff too, from Luke. He's always got his finger on the pulse. And Luke and I, we share an affinity for a lot of different music. Kanye West, Code Orange, a lot of rock music and metal and hardcore. And what I'm about to talk about is so up his alley that when I said I listen to More Life every day, I don't listen to this album every day, but I listen to it at least once a week from front to back. I've probably listened to this album more than any album I've listened to this entire year so far. And that is North Lane's Mesmer. This album is fucking incredible. It is the best, it's probably the best rock album I've heard so far this year. It's by far the best metal-ish album I've heard so far this year. This is a band that I was super high on I think it was their second full-length album. Their third one, Node, was not good at all. I hated it. Just completely lost interest in it. Luke was the one that showed me their single for the first time, and I kind of enjoyed it, piqued my interest, listened to it, and much like Drake, I was just kind of on the fence with it. I was just kind of like, whatever. But something kept bringing me back to it. This has everything that your algorithm wants. It is aggressive. It is catchy. It is interesting. It's different. It has huge choruses from time to time. This album is fucking great.
Yes, but would I like it?
100%. There's not even a doubt in my mind. And not to mention, I have checked in multiple times so far this year. Ryan, have you been listening to North Lane yet? No. And I thought for sure Luke would say yes. And he still has not listened to this thing. And I have no idea why. You have more of a pass. Luke, you do not have a pass. You listen to a shit ton of music.
Catch me listening to the 1,000 Below single.
The new Plot and You single.
Yeah. And what is it? The
Bad Sign.
I almost said Bad Sick.
Album coming out next week. Very hyped about that.
Great. Excellent.
But yeah, this North Lane album, if you're fans of, I'm not going to say saying if you're a fan of metal music is way too broad, but if you are a fan of more metalcore types of music, more screamo types of stuff, that is a genre that is so fucking tired. I'm so over it. That's how good this album is, though, that I would return to it over and over and over again. It's so good.
Yeah, but would I like it?
My number one album of the year so far If you don't know what this is, you have not been paying attention to our podcast, because I have mentioned this so often.
I have zero idea what you're
Are you
about to say.
fucking kidding me?
Hold on, let me think about it. It's not going to be 100th.
No.
It's not going to be Alt J.
Fuck no.
It's not going to be Coldplay.
Coldplay?
Is
They
it?
haven't even put out an album.
Is this Paramore?
Hell no. No.
Hold on.
I'm going to give you a hint. A 44, a 22. You build it up to break it halfway through.
Oh, Sampha.
That's right. Sampha's Process. 24. So this album came out super, super early, and it was such a pleasant surprise. And we joke all the time, well, not joke, we talk all the time about how Childish Gambino is this Renaissance man, and he's just everywhere. This guy is everywhere. I mean, before putting this album out, he broke out with the song Too Much on Drake's Nothing Was the Same. He was on Life of Pablo. He was on, what's her name? Beyonce's sister. I forget her name. Solange Knowles' album. And not only was he on Drake's More Life, Drake just was like, you are so good, you get your own song. Probably the best song in the entire album. And this thing is such a masterpiece. I mean, I talk all the time about Bon Iver, how big of a fan of Bon Iver I am. This is that level. It's sonically interesting. It's a beautiful album. At points, it's ethereal and atmospheric, but then, I mean, some of the best beats I've heard this year are on this album too, that makes you get turned. I got a second win with this album because Kayla actually discovered it again a little bit later on, and it made me reappreciate it as well. Not to mention, remember how hyped I got for the Coachella live stream, how they were streaming stuff?
Yes.
The first performance that I watched, Sampha, absolutely ruined the rest of the event for me because it was that good. Nothing could live up to it. I mean, this guy, not to mention that he's just the nicest guy.
And just a raw natural talent.
Oh, incredible.
And it's oozing out of his music. I mean, you can tell.
He's a young guy. He's very creative. He's very soft-spoken, nervous in interviews. I mean, he's just a really, really passionate guy. And I can't tell more people about it. Is it for everybody? Of course it is. Just go listen to it. It's great. It is great. Yeah. That's my number one album of the year so far. My front runners, again, I got 11 of them. There was 6 other, was that right? 6 other ones? Yeah, 6 other ones that I didn't mention. But it's been a pretty good year, a surprising year for music so far.
I don't have a problem with any of those choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Balance and Composure.
Ooh, yeah.
It's only 3 songs, though. How dare you? Luke said that was his album of the year so far. I mean, come on, man. It's only 3 songs. It's great. Don't get me wrong.
I'm doing that thing where I puff out my chest because I'm protesting this statement.
Have you even listened to 100th's album yet?
24. No, I'm boycotting temporarily because of the attitude.
The name thing?
The attitude that the Twitter account had with me.
I told Luke that there may be no perfect combination than throwing Light We Made, Slow Heart, and that new album, Rare, on a playlist and just hitting shuffle. I mean, they seamless together. Those 2 bands were made.
Well, now you just turned me on. Now I feel bad for boycotting.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen. I'm sticking to my guns.
Absolutely. All right.
For one more day.
Let's take a quick break. Then we're going to come back for 10. We're going to give you 10. 5 from me, 5 from you for television.
It's probably the same 5.
Might have something to surprise you in there.
Okay, then we're going to have 6. I guarantee it's a very like list.
Shout out to the Path. All right, we'll be right back. Sight & Sound Weekly. There is a ton of content over on the Sight & Sound YouTube page. Obviously, you can listen to us talk via podcast form, but we've got you covered with a ton of other content as well. I'm doing album reviews and music discussion. Ryan is doing movie stuff. We're doing TV stuff. We're doing vlogs, a bunch of shenanigans over on the Sight & Sound YouTube page. All you got to do is go to YouTube, search for Sight & Sound, subscribe to our channel, or you can click in the link in the description box of this podcast and subscribe to us. It's good times. Watch our faces. listen to stuff, YouTube is the place to be.
I'm talking, waiting for you to sit down, blah, blah, blah. Hurry up, sit down.
You hit me in the face of the microphone earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, shit, I need my phone.
Oh, no. Well, I'll keep talking again. Guys, we're about to talk TV. Do you want to do it top 10 style? I'll throw mine out.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm basically just going to run down my list, and if Jay has the particular...
You're going to do the whole thing? Just start at your number 5. Just do your number 5.
Now I have to pull it up here.
Okay. You want me to start?
My number 5 is Glow. Are you punting, or are you going to let me go?
Go for it.
I talked about... Where did I talk about this? We talked about it on Weekly.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Mark
so
Maron.
I don't need to go super in depth on this. I just thought it was very enjoyable. The depressing part of it is that even though this takes place in the early 90s, it's still very much relevant as far as the social commentary. I thought it was just very entertaining. I thought it had a great cast. There were a lot of standouts, no names. There's still no names to me because I don't know who they are. But I did very much enjoy most of the characters on this show, and I thought they all did a really great job doing it. I'm not someone who really... I've seen the first episode of Orange is the New Black. I don't really respond to it. I've never had any interest in watching that show. I was a fan of Weeds, so I'm 2 for 3 as far as Genji Cohen shows go. Allison Brie brought me into the show, but Betty Gilpin was the standout. I thought she killed it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely I don't know. Are you going to finish this stupid series?
Yeah, I'm going to finish it. Look, this thing has been...
There's no reason not to. It's
no,
so
absolutely
easy.
Not.
So easy.
This thing has been getting absolutely overwhelming critical response. The guys on the watch had just overtly positive things to say about it. And it made me even more intrigued. I just haven't jumped on that train yet, but I'm going to for sure.
Oh, I wasn't enough to get you on board, but Andy Greenwald on the watch.
Yeah, we have
now we're talking.
We have a love-hate relationship with one another.
I think you'll think that this could have been a movie, and I agree. It could have been a movie because it's such an easy watch. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I'm actually glad because Netflix continues to experiment with times and amount of episodes and all that stuff. So sorry, that was a combination of hiccups and burps there. My goodness.
Netflix
I'm getting excited.
Netflix is crushing it. And it's kind of funny. I don't know why this happens, but there's a lot of stuff that gets released on Netflix that I just don't care about. Like what's it called with Coach from Friday Night Lights? What's that show called?
Bloodline.
Yeah, Bloodline was that one just completely fell under the radar for me. Not that I would have watched it anyways or even cared, but this show had
Flaked, starring Will Arnett.
This show had some buzz behind it when it came out. I mean, absolutely had
a little.
And well, when it came out, I knew that it was something I was supposed to watch because, I mean, like, yeah, there was some heat on it. The heat meter was a little warm in the heat meter.
Because of Betty Gilpin. My God.
Well, even before that, just in general. All right, you're doing a weird thing. You ready for my number 5?
Yeah.
My number 5 is Leftovers.
Punt.
Okay. I'm going to go to my number 4. My number 4 is...
Isn't it my turn to go to number 4?
Well, no, because you punted mine.
Yeah, but...
And we're just round-robining. It's called a snake. It's called the snake draft.
Serpentine. Okay, yeah. I can get on this.
All right, my number 4, Legion.
Punt.
Okay, go to your number 4.
13 Reasons Why.
Punt.
This is why the Serpentine is stupid. Go ahead.
All right. My number 3, Master of None.
Oh, go ahead. I don't have this on my list.
Yeah. Now this is crazy. Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I didn't even finish Master of None season 1.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I watched the whole thing of Master of None season 2.
I can pick up on that. I haven't seen any of season 2 except the episode that you showed me, but just based on how the episodes work alone, you can kind of tell that you can just kind of pick up this show wherever.
Right.
It's pretty good in that way.
I was not looking forward to watching this. It was not on my radar. In fact, the only reason I watched it to begin with, because it was up for a discussion on Weekly and we ended up not discussing it. And so I watched it. Wasn't even that impressed with the first 2 episodes, but I kept coming back to it, and there is a storyline that develops in this show that had me in the feels, man. I mean, it really, really, really got me.
Wow.
Like, it captured so much. I mean, so much commentary. Look, shows can have.
How much do you relate to a Indian comic actor?
Well, it's. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying that it even necessarily relates on a personal level. I'm saying some things that he goes through is very relatable. There are some circumstances that he goes just in his everyday life. And
your arranged marriage.
We can talk all we want about social commentary in television shows, and that's great. That's fine. But there's also social commentary in shows that's just about normal everyday life that people can relate to. It doesn't always have to be like hot button issues and topics and stuff. This show definitely does tackle that. Not only is this my third favorite show so far this year, it has arguably two of the best episodes of televisions I've seen, period.
Televisions.
It has two of the best televisions I've seen so far this year. The episode that I showed you was one of them. There's another episode that I think 100% should lead off their push for award nominations, Emmys, Golden Globes, and I would be very, very surprised if they didn't win them for this one particular episode.
Which episode is it? Do you know the number?
I don't remember the number of it, but it deals with dealing with homosexuality, coming out, and also how that's wrapped up in the African American community.
I have no reason to not watch this season. I mean, I watched all of season 1. I enjoyed it. I don't know, it just kind of got away from me, but I'll definitely check it out. It's one of my favorite televisions show.
Yeah, I mean the storyline that I'm sort of touching on is sort of it reminds me of like a coming of age sort of story in the sense of like dealing with relationships and finding love and being in love. And I don't know, man. It's just thinking about it, it's getting me kind of in the feels. Like I really, really appreciated it so much.
Guarantee if you're saying it gets you in the feels, then I'm going to be a wreck.
Oh, 100%.
It's going to destroy me.
Knowing the things that you like, I think you're really going to enjoy it. And it was surprising. It was unexpected. 100%. Yeah.
I'm excited.
So what's your number 3?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Leftovers.
All right, let's talk about Leftovers. This was my number 4. No, this was my number 5. I'm sorry.
It ended beautifully.
It did. That's the only reason it's on my list, was the ending.
That's all you got?
The only reason it was on my list.
You can't even enjoy the first episode, find out where all these people are. You can't even enjoy International Assassin Part 2.
I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying it was bad by any means. It's
so without the finale, it doesn't make your list.
Look, this has been a great year for
it
television.
Has, no doubt.
Super shocking.
No doubt. I'm asking, without the finale,
probably would have been like 6 or 7.
Okay.
I'm
still good.
I'm picturing what's left in the year, and I could see it easily being.
I'm just trying to evaluate where you are so far.
Yeah,
I understand it's still good. It's certainly not. I mean, it's not an Iron Fist.
It's definitely not Leftover season 2.
We talk about it all the time. The Leftovers is in its own. That doesn't make sense. Stratosphere.
It stands alone.
It's somewhere else. So even when you say things, even when I say things like my least favorite season, it still destroys and steamrolls so many other shows in existence.
Right.
So that's not a harsh judgment. It was the season that I was connected to the least, but still proves that they were willing to change it up. They were still creative. They still nailed all of the things that I love about the show. A lot of fascinating episodes. Some of my least favorite character-centric episodes. Yeah. But overall, we talk about the show being a trilogy. Our friend Ryan sent me a snap earlier today.
I saw it too. I got it too.
He showed us.
You gonna buy a shirt?
I hope.
Leftover shirts. If you guys, this is gonna be one of those shows. I feel like in 2 or 3 years, people are gonna be talking about how great it is because they're finally gonna nut up and watch it.
Right. Yeah. I was very excited for him. He sent us a snap saying that he was starting the Leftovers. He sent me one of the first frames of the first episode. Yeah, I was very excited for him. overall, very satisfied.
But he won't watch Mr. Robot.
I'm back on this Lindelof high. Again, we had like a year or two hiatus from The Leftovers, so he wasn't in my consciousness. But I'm
Did you
back.
Miss him?
I did miss him. I'm a Damon Lindelof apologist, for those of you who don't know, and very stoked that this led to him getting Watchmen, which is going to be fascinating because I think that Lost and Leftovers were great prerequisites for something like that. I also want to see him dip his toes into the comic book genre. But anyway, Damon Lindelof, I mean, I'm a fanboy of his. He speaks to me with the way he writes and his material. And
He's kind of annoying on Instagram lately.
He's trying to get the Emmy, not notification. What word do I want? Not recommendation. Nomination. Attention. He's trying to get attention from the Emmys.
They need it because they were completely snubbed for season 2.
Which is bullshit. Anyway, there's not a whole lot more I can say because we talk a lot about The Leftovers.
We did an entire podcast about, well, we did. Yeah. We covered the show. We recapped the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys missed that, if you do want to watch The Leftovers and you make it to season 3, the episodes exist on our YouTube channel and on our podcast feed if you guys want to listen to some after show vibes. Look, are you done with Leftovers?
Yeah.
We're also down to my 2, and I just go ahead and get your next one out of the way.
My number 2? You want my number 2?
Did Legion make your list?
Yeah, it's my number 2.
Okay.
We shouldn't have done it the way that you decided to do.
Okay, go. Do what's your number 5?
Glow.
Okay, my number 5 was Leftovers.
Right.
What's your number 4?
13 Reasons Why.
Oh, okay, we skipped that.
You punted.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, go to Legion.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 was Master of None.
Okay, so we're on Legion. All right, so Legion was mind-blowing, literally and figuratively. It was trippy. It was just exciting television in general. It was never before seen television in a way. And it was also a great take on superheroes because there wasn't really superhero-y.
Right.
That's one of the worst ways to describe it.
Definitely left of center. 100%.
It just had so much identity, talking about how confused we are about like where it takes place in time, even though we got affirmation that it's actually present day. It just looks that weird. And breakout stars, including Rachel Keller, who broke out on Fargo first, but we're just now catching up to her because of Legion. What's his name? Killed it as well. Beast Boy.
I can't remember his name.
Why can't
Dan Stevens.
Yes. Dan Stevens.
How dare you? You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, that's fine.
You did a whole podcast about it.
Yeah, no.
It seemed forever ago.
It does feel like it's been a long time.
Well, look, you're saying some good stuff. I think it's important to note too that even though I don't think we really need it, it was kind of a breath of fresh air for superhero comic book genre in general. I think something was bound to come along that was just so psychedelic, so out there. And I'm so glad that they knocked it out of the park with this thing. I mean, any other year, this could have easily been like a number 1 show for me. 100%. It had echoes of Mr. Robot season 1 that we were so high on. I mean, it was so trippy, so heady. I really, really had a great time with this show.
I think what's fascinating about this show, it's a real case study, because if we were talking about any other show and I said I was disappointed by the finale,
yeah,
it'd be like a harsh criticism.
Mm-hmm.
With this show, I was disappointed with the finale because it was so top heavy.
Yeah.
With excitement and quality. Like, it was almost like the finale couldn't help but underwhelm me because everything else was so big in a way.
The finale was what we expected the show to be. And so
originally. Yeah.
So by the time we got there, I think it was kind of like, that was it.
Yeah.
It also suffered from penultimate syndrome. It's a thing that happens in TV shows that baffles me when the second to last episode is better than the finale. Happens in a lot of TV shows. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I love the idea, thinking about it now, I love the idea of it being for diehard TV fans that aren't necessarily comic book fans. Like, that doesn't matter at all. If you are a TV fan, you have to be able to say you saw Legion. And I do mean that because of its identity, because of its uniqueness. You cannot skip over Legion if you consider yourself a diehard TV fan.
It's also an interesting case study too, because it brought such a high quality, high concept idea to something that was supposed to be a little bit more popcorny. That I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if this was some people's first deep dive into television like this. Television that really makes you think about what you're seeing. If there's people out there that maybe all the TV they watch are, let's just say, the Marvel series and even CWDC shows. I mean, this is so in a different realm than those. It's not even funny. If you haven't watched it, make sure you do it. I still want to take it upon myself to binge the show. There are points in the show where it sort of does test your patience a little bit, and I'm fascinated to see what it would be like to actually binge this television season.
Are we on your number 2 now?
We're on my number 2. I feel like no, we don't. We don't have this. My number 2 is Big Little Lies.
Punt.
I know that. What's your number 2? What is happening here? Are you drunk?
My number 2 is Legion, so we're at my number 1, unless you want to get to... Okay. Let's do my number 1, and then we'll get to yours.
Okay. Well, your number 1 is my number 2, so let's just go.
Big Little Lies, I can't explain it. It was like the show where I anticipated the next episode the most. We're talking about a TV series that you might have seen trailers, you might have guessed what the show's about.
Andy Greenwald should be ashamed of himself.
You're probably exactly right. I think anyone can look at the show and be like, yeah, I got it.
Right.
You probably do get it.
But in fact, you get everything that those trailers promise you in the show.
I think that it's a soap opera for people that don't think they like soap operas. I don't like soap operas, but there are soapy elements to shows.
Actually like Days of Our Lives pretty well.
Yeah, but there are no two people like fusing into each other. There's no people that are in comas for 3 seasons. It's not that soapy,
right.
But it has soapy elements. And I guess that's a guilty pleasure of mine. Like, I don't like shows like, I don't care about Gossip Girl or 90210 or all of those. One Tree Hill. I've skipped all of those and I don't care. But there was one in particular, the OC, that I'm a very big fan of. This is an adult OC.
You're speaking mainly to the plot in general. I mean, this show.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is that it's essentially guilty pleasure, and it was so strong that it beat out every single show that we've talked about already. Like I said,
except for one.
It was one that I'm like thinking in the middle of the week, like I can't wait to see this next episode. Well, it was about rich white women in Northern California, and I was just like, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, look, this show, for everything that we've said that may be a deterrent to you, if it sounds like something that you're just not interested in, this show is gorgeous. I mean, it is shot so well. It has almost a David Fincher-esque sort of vibe to it, the entire thing. The acting performances, out of this world. I mean, this thing is going to win so much come award season. And also a ton of social commentary. Like, of course it is about rich white women living in Northern California. But look, that comes with its own set of baggage. Think what you might of that. It delves into domestic violence, delves into
social class.
So absolutely. The role that a woman plays in a family, I think, is very interesting in that show as well.
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon's character.
I'm glad that you mentioned the acting, because it was solely the acting credits that got me interested in the show to begin with.
Yeah.
Seeing that trailer on HBO before we would watch, what show were we watching on HBO? when we were
Westworld?
No, it was when I was binging Game of Thrones and Westworld, but I was binging Game of Thrones and Big Little Lies kept popping up, and just seeing name after name.
It's a bad taste just mentioning Westworld in the same breath as Game of Thrones and Big Little Lies.
I love Reese Witherspoon. I love Shailene Woodley. Big fan of Adam Scott. I was sold. I was glad to just see all those people in a show.
Skarsgård, whichever one that is.
Alexander, but I mean, I don't have any preference for him. But
I thought you were going to say you don't have a preference for either Skarsgård.
I don't have any opinion of going into the show. I had zero opinion on Alexander Skarsgård.
Well, the point you're making is that the show has multiple standout performances.
Yes,
this whole thing is a win.
Nicole Kidman did so much to herself to be able to pull off that role. I mean, there were so many stories that I've read where she would film a scene and just need to lay on the floor after filming it because of how intense it was to prepare for, to perform. And I just find that fascinating and interesting because, you know, going back to domestic abuse and all of that. And the kids were great too. There were a couple of kids that were on there and they were all great too. So,
hey, you like that? You like the kids?
Yeah. Great talent. The main boy who's in the show is going to be young Sheldon in the Big Bang Theory spinoff for CBS, which I could not be any less excited for.
All right. Well, let's talk about my number one. And this was a strange one because my number one is 13 Reasons Why.
Mr. Grinch. Strange one.
And I wrestled with this. I wrestled with this list. I mean, there's so many good shows on here, but this is a teen drama at the end of the day. This is a teen drama on Netflix that, you know, didn't have the best acting, was shot fine, but very little shows ever in history impact me like this did. I mean, this thing has become a cultural phenomenon. I still have conversations with people about this show today. When the idea of suicide comes up, I immediately think about this show. How it's a television show that makes you think about how you treat people, how you view people. I mean, television doesn't get more powerful than that. It's crazy. It's absolutely, and I think back to it was so crazy that we both did YouTube videos about it. I mean, we've never done anything like that before.
And we both had, not only did we do two, but they were two unique.
Oh, 100%.
And what I'm getting at is that, I mean, it affected us in very interesting, unique ways, and that we were able to make two pieces of content for it.
Very smartly written. It was a show where I think on the surface you could easily look at it and think, oh, it's a story about a victim. Everybody's a victim in the show, and everybody is at fault in the show. And I think that's so smart. It just did a lot of really cool things. It did a lot of things right. But and at the end of the day, you know, I thought about where I was going to put it on this list, and I thought about that's what art is, man. I mean, good art is supposed to move you in some way, shape, or form. And this did it for me.
I echo
nearly
everything that you said. It's funny how this show just kind of popped up. I've told this story before. I walked into my break room and a guy that I work with just mentioned it to me in passing, and he sold it. I was like, yeah, I'm really into that. And which is kind of a weird thing to say. I'm really into a show that's about suicide, and I don't know if we've even ever talked about this off air, but like I had my no hope phase,
right,
where I was in a dark place a few years back, and so like the idea of depression and suicide, I'm very passionate about that.
Right.
I want people to feel more comfortable talking about their mental health, and I could go on and on about that. But that's one reason why the show kind of struck me and hit me before I had even watched it. That's why it got my attention so much, because I already feel very passionate about that issue. Obviously familiar with Dylan Minnette, who played the main character of the show, who we follow at least from his perspective.
Shout out Jackson.
And right. And so other than that, not a whole lot. What's her name from Grey's Anatomy, of course, plays Hannah's mom. Can't think of her name right now, but and then Derek Luke played the principal. But I mean, there aren't a lot of big names. Selena Gomez produced it, of course. I think that there were hit or miss moments.
Yeah.
I think there were moments where it lagged for me a little bit, but it still gained my interest. It was still one of the fastest binges of the year so far.
It's not.
Me.
It's not without its negatives. And you're right. There are Netflix shows that sort of catch this weird wave where everybody's talking about it once. The most recent one before that, I think, might have been the OA.
OA.
Over Christmas, everybody doing that. Obviously, Stranger Things was another one.
Yeah. Oh, what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah. I cried like a baby.
Yeah.
I really did. Like,
not me, but okay.
There were a couple of very intense scenes where I literally couldn't keep my eyes open. I had to turn away and I was sobbing. And yeah, I've never been like, I can't think of when I sobbed even at a movie. It's affected me in a very unique way. I can get emotional about nearly everything, but the amount, the toll that this show took on me. It's also probably the show that I've recommended people watch. Maybe second to The Leftovers. I've probably recommended the show more than any of them, whether it needed me to or not, because this was a hit regardless, and people were talking about it, whether they were loving it or pissed off about it. So, yes, it was a huge shockwave.
Absolutely, and it's crazy just looking at this whole year with television. It's baffling to me because I didn't anticipate television to be this good, but I mean, I have no doubt about it that all 5 of these will be in my top 10 by the end of the year.
I am the Iron Fist.
We have a big year of television to look forward to, though. I talked about it in our Facebook group, but up next we got Game of Thrones,
Defenders,
Mr. Robot. I'm looking forward to The Gifted. I don't know about you, and obviously Stranger Things and Halloween.
I'm not looking forward to The Gifted. Can't say that. I think I'm...
You're interested?
I wouldn't even say that. I mean, I am. I'm curious, but I think I'm pretty much done with any network
Your
show.
Your negativity towards it is bewildering to me.
I mean, none of the actors appeal to me. I don't know who any of these people are. I mean, it's not calling itself an X-Men show. I guess neither did Legion, but doesn't have to because it's on another playing field. But it's like, I don't know. There's just nothing about it yet is speaking to me or shouting, "Hey, watch me." It just looks like,
I think
it looks like everything else that's going on.
I think the bottom line is it's at least worth noting. I mean, it's something that most people I think should at least dip their toe in.
Oh, I know there's a reason to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a good year. It's been a good year so far. Movies got to step up their game, but it's coming fast and furious.
Who's winning the pop culture crown right now?
I mean, I think it's without a doubt television. I don't think there's any argument.
Even more so than music.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, okay. Look, music, this has been a surprising year for music, but I mean, even at that, like if it gives you any indication, the albums that I've listed here or that even are on my top 11, most of them would still be pretty far down in my list of last year. But last year was a crazy year for music.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What do you think? You think television too? You're gonna try to argue movies?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Movies is dead last.
I don't think there's any arguing that.
I think movies is last, and I don't think there would ever be any scenario that I can imagine where I would ever choose music over at least movies or TV, just because that's how I am. But TV, music, movies for me.
Yeah, I think there's been
movies need to, and I think we're about to get into
100%.
It's going to explode. It started with Baby Driver, but movies are going to explode for the rest of the year.
I'm excited for it. We're going to keep everybody up to date here on Sight and Sound Weekly. Hopefully you've enjoyed this version of the episode. Next week we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
No.
All right, guys, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Sight Sound Pod, Facebook.com/SightSoundPod. Go and check out that Facebook group. It'll be worth your while. I promise you. SightSoundPod.com for your t-shirts. Just dropped that new merch life. You can find me at Jaye Williams, J the A the Y the E on Twitter and Instagram. It's the same for both. Ryan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at WhatUpSnell. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're about to hit 450 subscribers. We're on the road to 500. It's incredible, guys, and we very, very much appreciate it. Make sure that you're also subscribing to our podcast feed, because guess what? I'm doing movie episodes again. I'm going to be doing a movie episode similar to how Jay does his music episodes, but also anticipate. I don't know where we are with this whole movie bucket list thing. I think it's getting to a point where I just need to fucking release them.
I think you've stumbled upon success with the standard movie show. And those can be thrown out there.
I still need to get at least a fourth guest.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll release the 4 in a package, but then release the rest periodically.
There you go, an EP.
Right.
You're going to do an EP?
We'll see, but I can get the 3 together at least, plan a 4 then. Anyway, so we're picking up the pace with movies, and I've got another side project that I will talk about next week.
I'm also working on a little something too. A new music show that I'm very excited for, but it's going to take a lot of work. We've also got another TV show we're in the planning stages on. And guys, I just got to do it. I've got to tease you guys about this. Winter is coming in July.
Oh shit.
Game of Thrones coverage on Sight and Sound is coming. And yeah, if you are a Game of Thrones watcher and you have a podcast that you already listen to, fuck that podcast. Because it sucks.
Shit.
Actually, I don't know if it sucks. If it's Collider, it doesn't suck. Christian, please don't fire us. All right.
Fuck.
All right, please stop doing that. You're annoying me. Let's get out of here.
It's not about you.
Take us out. A 44.
Shit.
And 22. I'm going to make you say one last thing. You got to say something.
55.
Shout out Goodman.